So we have some breaking news that according to the newest Review Journal poll, Bernie Sanders has taken a commanding lead in Nevada. He has 25% support. That's 7 ahead of Joe Biden at 18, Elizabeth Warren at 13, Tom Steyer at 11, Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg both at 10. Nobody else in the double digits. And this is a great poll for Bernie, not just because he's leading and leading big, but because of the timing. We haven't gotten much polling information from Nevada in a while, even though it's the next state to go in the primary schedule. It's just over a week away. And so while we've been hearing a lot about states on Super Tuesday and beyond, this information from Nevada shows that Bernie Sanders is the only one that can have good results in each of the first 3 states. Bernie Sanders won the popular vote in Iowa. And given all the controversies there, that's the only thing we know for certain in Iowa. Bernie Sanders also won New Hampshire, and he's in a clear position to win in Nevada. No one else can say that they're in a position to have 3 strong results in the first 3 states. Buttigieg and Klobuchar can brag about their results in the first 2 states, but both of them here are likely going to leave Nevada without delegates. And Joe Biden might be happy with second place here, but the reality is that he massively underperformed in Iowa and New Hampshire. And Elizabeth Warren had a decent Iowa, but a dismal New Hampshire, and it doesn't look like she's doing much better here in Nevada. So only Bernie Sanders in the first 3 states can line up 3 good results and can possibly claim to have won all 3 states if these results hold. This is also a big deal because Nevada is the first state with some measure of diversity. It's the only state thus far that has a significant amount of people from non-white populations. Both Iowa and New Hampshire were very, very monochromatic, didn't have a lot of diversity. And while Bernie did do well in those states among their limited non-white populations, Bernie being able to win Nevada by a convincing amount will help build a narrative that his support is much more diverse than the neoliberal media wants you to believe, given the large amounts of Latino and Latina population in Nevada. It also could set up Bernie Sanders quite well going into South Carolina, because if Joe Biden continues to struggle, and in every contest thus far, he's massively underperformed, it could make him even weaker in South Carolina, and it could allow Bernie Sanders to win. And of course, South Carolina is supposedly one of Joe Biden's fortress states, given the large proportion of African American voters. And if Biden fails there, it could be game over, and it could give Bernie Sanders all the momentum needed to carry a strong result into Super Tuesday. Another crucial piece of information in this particular poll is favorability, because in caucuses, it often matters that you have good second place support, that people who aren't voting for you still like you, because caucuses make it much easier for people to shift around right until the final second. You can't do that with voting, because once you mark your ballot and drop it in the box, it's locked in. But at caucuses, you can be persuaded where the actual caucuses happen. And this is more good news for Bernie, because Bernie Sanders, along with Elizabeth Warren, are by far the most popular Democrats among the Democratic Party base in Nevada, showing that Bernie Sanders doesn't really have a ceiling like a lot of the neoliberal media suggests, but rather that among Democrats, people see him rather popularly, and they don't have a whole lot of negatives about Bernie Sanders either. So that could bode well in terms of getting second place support further down the line in this caucus. And it shouldn't be ignored that Bernie Sanders is the only one very clearly above the viability threshold. Everyone is below it except for Biden and Bernie. Everyone else is below that 15% delegate threshold. But Biden's only 3 points ahead of it. That's within the margin of error of falling below. And if Biden's collapse is to be believed, we could see him underperform his polls here in Nevada, meaning that Bernie Sanders may well be the only one that wins delegates here in Nevada, or at least wins any significant amount of delegates. So this is a fantastic poll. All of the news coming out of Nevada recently about Bernie Sanders and the Culinary Union having a bit of a kerfuffle over Medicare for All was not good for Bernie. A lot of that news made it look like Bernie was having a fight with organized labor. But at the end of the day, when you poll rank and file people of Nevada, the working people of Nevada, whether they're in unions or not, they are lining up behind Bernie Sanders far more than any other candidate. And when Bernie wins Nevada, he will be able to claim that he clearly won New Hampshire, that by any reasonable metric he won Iowa, and that he won Nevada too. That is the perfect setup to run the table and clearly become the Democratic nominee and defeat Donald Trump in November.